Elevate Eurasian here. Here's some quick and easy Sage tips for you. Sage as an agent, I would say, is pretty basic. You have a wall in which you can choose to wall off corridors. It does expire after a certain amount of time. You will see cracks in the wall, of course, prior to it breaking. You can also choose to elevate yourself and your teammates. I mean, enemies if you want to. It's totally up to you. This gives you height advantage. There's also a heal that you can do. I'm pretty sure that's self-explanatory. Enemies can hear this, however, if they are close enough. So just be careful if you are trying to lurk around with someone you just recently healed. Make sure that there's no enemies around or they will hear you. There's also a slow orb in which you can toss out the enemies. We're gonna pretend Jet is the enemy here. If you are not shift walking, so if you're not slow walking in this orb, everyone will hear you, essentially. It's also very hard to jump. Jumping onto elevated heights is very, very difficult. We're gonna watch Jet here. She's going to take damage and unfortunately die, and your ultimate ability is actually Resurrection. When you do this, make sure that you are holding any possible angles where an enemy can come, because if people know that Jet died on this specific spot, they will come for the Resurrection, and it's possible that they can kill you and they can kill Jet, as Jet is completely vulnerable for a couple of seconds as she's getting resurrected. I like to play cat a lot, so what I'll do is if I hear them aiming and there's a killjoy ulting, I usually to come here, wall bang it. It's very inconsistent, so you might not get it all the time. I usually try to wait down until the last like maybe 3-4 seconds, and if I don't get the ult, I'll run out here, wait up for my team, and then we'll go back in. But with the wall up here on Cat, you don't really have to worry about anyone coming up Cat, since this is a common space for people to come up. All you have to worry about is a Raze, Jet, or maybe a Sage falling out, maybe an Omen TP. That's about it. Omen, you can work with your Omen and ask him to come up on the wall with you.
Here.
I can feel her pull against the natural balance.
Like this. And then he's going to TP to site. There is a chance that people will be able to hear this, so they may be aware that you are looking from an elevated angle at sites. I have personally had this work multiple times in multiple different elos. It definitely catches people off guard, so it's definitely something I think you could only probably pull off once in a game. But this definitely catches people off guard. Having an Omen already on site and with your team flooding through, it's definitely going to cause a little bit of chaos for the enemy team. Play on, and I usually take showers. Sometimes I'll switch up. It's really dependent on my team. Sometimes I'll take up short. I usually do this especially for pistol rounds. I feel like the chances of the enemy coming showers on pistol is a little less likely than them going any other site. But if I do hear them short, sometimes I like to just clear everything and then I creep up. I'll wait for a second. You can bait this orb easily, but if you do hear them short and there's a small chance of them coming showers, I like doing this little vertical wall. They do have to break multiple links to come in, and it's a free orb for you here. You can kind of peek on the sides, and then you help your team if they are coming A. Otherwise, you just rotate to B if you know they're going B. It's a little riskier, I think, on actual gun rounds, but on pistol, I think it's a pretty free round. As the game progresses, I like to do this wall here. It's a wall where the enemy literally can't come through. They have to break, again, multiple links to come through. I will usually stand here, or I'll have someone Heaven stand and just stare at this. They literally have to stand close right here, and it's an easy kill for you, so long as they're not aware that someone else is standing directly in front of the wall just staring at it. But you can stand over here, help out short if you really want to. There is another wall if you don't even want to worry about showers. You simply just wall it off like this. You can play up here. It's pretty predictable. This is wall bangable. So if the enemy's smart enough, they'll know you're up here. They'll have to make you move. But this way, you don't really have to worry about it. I find, to be honest, walling short, the wall is easily shreddable. This literally just stops them for a few seconds. If they're really determined to come to this site, they're gonna come through. But I think the wall is more practical, definitely for showers. Okay, so for A site attacking on finds, there's 2 essential walls I think you need to know. Now you're going to be going up behind your duelist, behind your flashers, make sure everything is smoked off that needs to be smoked. Now prior to you doing this wall, you need to make sure that there is nobody here. So whether you have a teammate that's coming through showers, clearing this, or you have a teammate that's watching you, you need to wall this off. It's going to be likely that you are planting, so you're going to plant. While you do this, you should have a teammate that's watching for you because it's so easy for enemies to shred this wall and get a free pick off of you. Now, if by some chance, in other scenarios, your team has flooded site and you guys have full control of a site, another wall that I like to do is this one. I'm gonna simply wall U-haul off like this. I feel as though people who are defending don't always expect a wall along here. It definitely annoys people. You can also play up here and get a nice little elevated angle. You're able to clear everything, see more of sight. And if in another situation where it's highly possible that they're flanking and you guys are down in numbers, I think this is a pretty good wall. This way you guys can continue focusing on moving up instead of going backwards, and should be an easy and free round for you guys. If you plan on attacking on B with your team, I think there's one good wall that every Sage should be doing. This is all situational, but is you're basically going to be walking out with your wall vertical. Your teammates are going to be clearing sight like this. All you simply do, vertical wall off the elbow part here. If they do have a cypher on the enemy team, there's more than likely going to be sand traps here. So before you walk out too far, either only walk out maybe about this far, wall it off, make sure these trips are gone, ensure that this is clear and inside tube is clear, and then you are free to plant. This isn't always the most optimal spot to plant if people such as Killjoy and Sova are alive, simply because a lot of them have lineups and you'll be dead instantly. So sometimes I do like to plant here instead. That way your teammates can still have a clear view of the bomb when it's planted, post-plant. If everyone else does happen to die, they can still see the bomb long and they're able to contest it that way. Only a few walls that I like doing. You can wall this, deny it, it denies access for the people coming into hookah. I did not mean to do that. You can play on this wall right at the corner here. The second that people in hookah, if they're coming in from hookah and they see this wall, they can be more weary that you're up here. It's really common for Sages to play up here. This is bangable, so they can shoo you out. And people coming out from long can also look up here, but this is pretty cheeky if they're not expecting it right away. You can also, this is better if you're playing with another person, I think, but you can do an aggressive wall like this if you're failing your shot and just kind of peek out. You can fall back right here if you need to fall back faster than normal. And the only other wall that I really do is if I'm trying to farm orbs, which I do a lot, you just simply wall this off. I like to wait a second to see if they'll break the wall, and then you just come in, you grab the orb, and then you leave. Sometimes people will break this wall right away, so you need to be really, really careful when trying to grab that orb. It's pretty simple. You're gonna wall up here, first option, hop on the wall, just be careful of people coming from here and here. A lot of people like to ult, especially from here. Then you won't have to worry about that. If you want to wall tunnels, make sure you don't wall here. Simply because people can do this, and it's not good for you. So make sure that you're walling this part of the tunnel. That way they'll have to break this wall. They can't come through top mid, so just make sure you have someone watching top mid for you on your behalf. For A site, there's a couple walls you can do. Of course, you can wall off a main like this, where the enemy can come from A long or shop here. It's highly likely that if they have rifles or they're all here, they are going to shoot your wall, shred it, and it's going to be essentially useless. This is just ideal if, you know, there's one or two there, they're lurking around, you're not sure where they are. This just gives you more peace of mind that you'll know if they're there, if they shoot, or they have to wait the entirety of the wall out. Another wall you can do is wall off mid like this and do a vertical wall. This also gives you peace of mind that no one's going to lurk up and you guys will be able to watch a main like this. The only disadvantage it has is if you guys lose sight and the rest of your team have to rotate, they can't come through. If Jet wants to updraft over the wall, she's going to make a lot of noise. She can either choose to wait this out or go up top mid, go through a main. It's totally up to you. Just try not to lose sight, essentially. This is also a great way to avoid people lurking up. You know, if the numbers are starting to dwindle down on the team, just simply gives you peace of mind. One last wall at the start of the round. If I'm not playing directly on site, I feel like halls is a very easy place for people to lurk up and take control of and overpower you easily. So the second the barrier comes down, you just simply do a quick little peek like this. Easy like that. And you toggle the switch for the door and you can help your teammates by looking here. You can also slow orb this if they are coming up through the double doors here. This just gives you, again, peace of mind that they're not gonna come barreling through the halls like this. And if they are there, you guys will know and you guys will be able to focus more attention to halls. Alright, defense on B site is pretty standard, I would say. If you hear enemies coming through main, you can choose to play on this wall. You just have to be wary of here. This is a common op spot. You also can have people obviously coming from this way. Or you can choose to play back site here. Slow orb accordingly if you do hear them rushing. Another spot you can wall is, of course, tunnels here. This does give you less visual of what's going on in mid, so you will need to make sure that someone is playing nest or watching mid heavily. The reason why we don't wall this if you're defending on B site is because enemies can simply jump on this box and they can still flood site and walk through or even creep up on you. So that's why we wall this side, so we deny them entry to site that way. If you don't want to wall off B main or tunnel, you can do this with a teammate as well. You come up onto this ledge here, do a vertical wall, and you are able to boost yourselves up. This is an angle that not a lot of people will expect. This is great if someone wants to op, or if you want to have a moment where you catch someone off guard, and it's an easy fallback. You're fully covered here. And so you're able to fall back here, and then you can also, of course, slow orb accordingly if they are rushing you. That will definitely catch people off guard and surprise them is simply walling elbow like this horizontally. This gives you a crazy angle that's definitely gonna have people not expecting this. You can also, your head may stick out from here, but you can also watch elbow like this. People aren't gonna immediately look up. They're gonna see the wall, and then before they can put their crosshair on you, you'll be able to shoot them in the head. Alright, for defending on a site for Breeze, if you do have a jet that's willing to op, you can work with them. Have your wall boost ready. They're gonna hop up on triple here. Make sure you're crouched, because if you are not crouched, your head is gonna hit the bottom of your wall and it's gonna break the links. So when the round starts, you simply wall up like this, and that's gonna give them an absolutely incredible angle to op. For attacking on Breeze, same thing as defense on A. You could work with your jet. give them a nice little angle here. You're going to simply come in front of this water shack here. You are going to do a vertical wall and boost them up. That way, they can see top nest. And that gives them a great angle, catches the enemy off guard. There's only one lineup that I have. Oh, there he is. I'm going to slow heaven here. And this is as your team's going up, so there's a high chance of someone sitting heaven, possibly with an op. You literally just gonna line up with this flower, go a little bit down. Your team should be walked up already. And there's a chance that someone is in here, and you just wall bang them. So I usually wall of B, pretty standard. You can peek like this. Sometimes I like to wall up from this side, and I'll stay here until the wall goes down, and if they're playing default really slow, they'll creep in. You can kind of catch them off guard here, so hopefully that happens if someone does walk in on you while you're up here. Another wall that you can do is a vertical wall in garage. I feel like it just kind of gives you more peace of mind. If you know that they're in grass, trying to come into garage, you'll obviously hear them breaking the wall. If you do wall here, all you have to do is listen for sound cues. If another stage is walling over this, Raze is satcheling over, Jets updrafting over, you'll definitely hear that. So just make sure you're aware of that. Other than that, if this is walled off and they're not breaking the wall, you don't have to pay any mind to it. And for a lineup for C that I like to do, you're gonna line up to this corner in Seacon. Bring your slow orb out, line up to the corner of this thing sticking out of the roof. Fire off like that. And it's gonna land default. Stand back here on this bench. Jump up, make sure your crosshair doesn't go over this arch at the top. At the peak of your jump, you're gonna slow orb. This one's gonna hit window. It's gonna slow whoever's peeking. I would say trolley kind of plan is to come up on A if you're attacking. And so you're gonna plant here, get as close to this back wall on the top nest as possible. So the bomb looks like this. You're gonna take your wall, make it vertical. You're gonna simply wall the alongside of this top nest here. Now we can go ahead and watch when this enemy sage tries to defuse. Now, if it's a 1v1, the sage has to look for you. You could be anywhere your heart desires. I definitely recommend trying to wrap around somewhere, get the upper hand, but she's going to be struggling trying to find out where you are. You could be a million different places. You could come from anywhere. Unfortunate. So they basically have to break multiple links and be extremely exposed to being shot from anywhere. Attacking A with your team, I would say, is pretty easy. Now, every situation is going to be different, but this is how I normally execute with my team if we're just going down through A. Obviously, your duelists are going to be flashing for you, entering for you, but you have to make sure everything is clear before you can plant. As Sage, you are most likely going to be the one planting. I like to have my wall vertical like this, and a wall of backside like this. And then you can plant like this. This is the default spot. This way, nobody backside can come through here. If they want to come through here, they're going to have to break this wall, sleeves, rafters / heaven open, and then people can watch the CT walk out, and there's also the small chance of flank. And I like to sit back here. This is, I'd say, a pretty sneaky spot to sit in. Not everyone is going to expect you back here. People walking out from rafters literally have to fall on top of you, and I think you definitely have the upper hand if they're going to be falling on top of your head. Okay, attacking on B is fairly easy. If I know I'm going out onto B site with my team, I like to make sure that my wall is diagonal like this. You'll see why in a second. So as you're going up, everyone's gonna be clearing their corners. You're just gonna follow up with them, make sure that everything's clear. This is a common spot here for defenders to play, so make sure that's clear before you plant. Now, you're gonna make your vertical wall go down. And then you're gonna plant like this. Make sure people are watching your walkout from here and from here. This is more likely going to be slowed and smoked off. Now, the reason why we do the diagonal wall like this is because this Radiant box stack here is bangable. So the second they hear you start planting, they're going to spam this. And it's also likely that they're going to spam your wall. So if they do, say, break this link, you are going to have to either cancel your plant or you're going to have to stare right here and try to find that person that's trying to shoot you out. Other than that, once you plant, you just hold it down with your team, wait for bomb to go off, and then you'll win the round. Okay, for defending on Icebox, I actually enjoy playing A a lot more because the likeliness of the enemy team running down mid, I feel like is significantly lower rather than them hitting A or B site. When you wall this side of the site off, I feel as though it's a lot easier for you guys to defend since everyone basically has to tunnel through here that is attacking. So you guys can spill your utility, throw some raised nades, blind it, do whatever you need to do. This could definitely deter the enemies from coming here so they can easily back out. I mean, they can try to attack, but it's definitely going to be a lot harder for them. If I'm moving on to rifle rounds. I also did forget to mention that I usually only do this for pistol rounds. Once we start moving into the rifle rounds, occasionally I will come through here if I notice that they're lurking a lot. Just do a vertical wall, simply like this. They have to break every single link to come through. And this is very annoying and tedious. And the second they start breaking these links, you're going to know. But normally for our rifle rounds, if I do have to wall this middle tube here, you could slow this, look at that. Sometimes you will get a jet that comes up here, an Omen TP, or even a raised level satchel up here. Just make sure you're aware of that. Watch here. If you hear a lot of steps going towards A, you can pick up mid from whoever's watching boiler, let them go, and you could watch this, and you could also come out and watch the cross. If they are planning A, you hear them running up A. You just slow orb them. I think most slow orbs aimed at the ceiling will get a good portion of the site. This gets front sight here. And I'll show you guys one more time. You're just aiming at this pillar out here. That one gets aiming, and then this one gets default right here. Pretty simple. For mid, there's a couple things you can do. You can work with your team. Obviously the duelists are gonna have to come first, and they're gonna have to clear everything here if you guys are splitting B or just simply going from mid to B. I like to slow orb this sometimes as I'm coming up. It's dependent on if your team clears it or not. But if we're going super fast, usually I'll just toss a wall here and then work with my team, clear everything. If we are splitting B, sometimes I'll throw a slow orb here and then we continue clearing site. I also sometimes will come from rafters here. It depends if my team is already walked up here, back site's clear, so I know I'm not gonna get swung when I have my wall out, but sometimes I will wall this off, and then you can plant right here, and that way your team has heaven covered. You know that it is safe to plant. You can plant here. There's also a wall that you can do if you're coming from B main. You can wall this. I don't really like walling this necessarily because Raze and Sage can throw utility here, and if you guys are all jumbled up in here, it's gonna be a hot mess for you guys to try to get through onto site, especially if Sky throws in some flashes or Omen flashes you guys. Just make sure you guys clear everything when you're coming onto site. This is a really optimal place to plant, or right here. dependent on how much your team has cleared. Since I am not a fan of this wall, I will wall this off if I can. If the enemy is defending coming up from CT, you just break this wall. And they're gonna have to clear everything. They have to clear here, they have to clear there, they have to clear default. And if this wall's sticking out like this, your teammate can literally hide behind here or play around this wall. This is just literally another angle that the enemy has to worry about, and I think it gives you a pretty good advantage. If I'm walling off an entrance like this, I always try to put it on an angle just so I can be a teeny tiny bit cheeky. And if you're really feeling spicy, you could play on top of your wall too, but I don't recommend staring at an angle for too long. I think it definitely puts you more at risk. So definitely, you know, just do a little peek. Don't play on it for too long. I just think it's too risky. But yeah, that's it. A quick lineup for attacking on A split. You're gonna bring yourself right here to this corner. Make sure you're tucked in there good. You're gonna line up to these two corners of this building here. This right one is gonna bounce straight off into heaven and then cover a little bit of rafters. So we're gonna do one, and this one is going to be covering CT and elbow. So when you and your team come up to attack, everything that needs to be slowed is already slowed, and you will be all good there. To play mid, and then I'll hop up B. I don't really play A too much, but I will if I have to. You'll see a lot of stages simply just walling off mid. Usually you should have a teammate that's playing here that's helping you out, and you guys can kind of work together. I really like working with raises in the middle. Just toss a little slow orb here, and then your raise can nades, and it's a cute little wombo combo there. You can do some crackhead sage things, like coming on this wall. This is really risky. This is something I recommend doing only if you're really, really feeling your shot. I wouldn't do this if you know you're whiffing or if you're not gonna play on this wall confidently. It's just something you can do a little quick peek, hop off it. If they see you, you can just simply hop off, run back to heaven. If you know that they're rushing up mid, it's more than likely that they're just going to simply shred your wall. So sometimes if I know they're rushing, I simply wall up here. You can peek out here like this. You can easily fall back. Sometimes I'll play on this side because they don't expect you on this side, and then you can simply fall back if you get a pick, or if they see you, you run out of there. Only thing that sucks about this wall is if they plant B and you have teammates rotating from here, they have to break this, and it just simply delays them. But if this is walled off, your teammates are aware it's walled off, your teammates are aware that they're mid, you simply can help B here. Easy as that.